Reverend, you can go ahead and join us up here, even before you get sworn in. We have a little nameplate for you.
No kisses. You don't kiss me, I won't kiss you. We got a deal going here. Okay. No kissing.
All right, welcome everyone. At this time, I'll call to order the reorganization and regular meeting of the Board of the Manatee County School District. If you would all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. At this time, I will turn over the chair to Superintendent Saunders for our reorganization of the school board of the Manatee County.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to congratulate our successful candidates. Congratulations to Mr. Charlie Kennedy on being reelected to District 2. Congratulations to Dr. Scott Hopes on being elected to District 4. And congratulations to Reverend James Golden on being elected to District 5. Welcome to the family members who are also in attendance. We certainly appreciate you being here on this wonderful Tuesday evening. Each board member is sworn in individually. So now each board member will begin the process. I invite Mr. Kennedy to the podium to be sworn in by the Honorable Judge Charles Williams. He is joined by his father, Mr. William Bud Kennedy.
Okay, all right, so I found one. Mr. Kennedy, I'm gonna slightly choreograph this so that we all can make certain that we all get the opportunity to see you, and
Okay.
it's a privilege and an honor, and I appreciate the opportunity to swear you in.
It's an honor to stand here with you, sir.
You're gonna stand here, and you're gonna place your left hand on the Bible, and you're gonna raise your right hand, and you're gonna repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect,
and
defend the Constitution
defend the Constitution
and government of the United States
and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified
that I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution
under the Constitution
of the state,
of the state,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully
and faithfully
perform the duties of school board member
perform the duties of school board member
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I invite Dr. Hopes to the podium to be sworn in by the Honorable Judge Renee Inman. He is joined by his wife, Mrs. Rhonda Hopes.
All right, so I'm going to have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution
that I will support defend, and protect the Constitution
and government of the United States
and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida.
and of the state of Florida.
That I am duly qualified to hold
That I am duly qualified to hold
office under the Constitution of the state,
office under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of school board member
the duties of school board member,
on which I am now about to enter.
of which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
I now invite Reverend James Golden to the podium to be sworn in by the Honorable Judge Charles Williams. He is joined by his wife, Mrs. Mildred Moten Golden.
Okay. All right. Okay. Place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and government of the United States
and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida.
that I am duly qualified
That I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state.
and that I will well
And that I will well
and faithfully
and faithfully
perform the duties of school board member
perform the duties of school board member
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Madam Superintendent, these other two gentlemen have done this before. They're used to it. I might as well get out of order right away.
You might as well, sir. If you would like to say
Yes.
a couple of
Yes.
words, you may.
I appreciate it. Horace Mann, the father of public education in this country, had 6 main principles for public education. First, the public should no longer remain ignorant. 2, that such education should be paid for, controlled, and sustained by an interested public. 3, that this education will be best provided in schools that embrace children from a variety of backgrounds. 4, that this education must be non-sectarian. 5, that this education must be taught using the tenets of a free society. And 6, that education should be provided by well-trained professional educators. He spent his life working for more and better equipped schoolhouses, longer school years until 16 years old, higher pay for teachers, and a wider curriculum. We still have need for these principles, and I fully intend to be accessible, accountable, and adaptable in helping the school district of Manatee County achieve these goals. I want to thank my wife. I want to thank all of you who have been supportive, my children, my grandchildren, that are able to sit and see this moment. I want to thank the welcoming spirit that I have gotten from all of the board members that I am privileged to serve with. I want to thank all of the schools that I have been able to visit, all of the principals, all of the staff that have made this a welcoming moment for all of us. We have the opportunity now to move forward, to turn the page, and I look forward to being a part of that process. Thank you, and may God continue to bless and keep us all.
Thank you. The next order of business is the election of chair. Nominations are now in order for the office of chair.
Madam Chair, if I may make a statement.
Sure.
As we embark on this, I wanted to thank my colleagues for the opportunity and the honor to serve as chair over our meetings and to reaffirm my commitment to continue to work for the success of the district, regardless of role, whether it's chair, vice chair, or school board member, and to continue to rehabilitate our ERP project and bring that into a positive and favorable resolution. And I thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Madam Superintendent, in light of the spirit with which Mr. Hopes has gotten us off to our first order of business, I appreciate the magnanimity that he has displayed. I am well aware of the competence that he has brought to the position of chair, and I am extremely pleased to hear him say that he would be willing to continue in his role regardless of what his position is. And to that end, in an effort to bring about a moment of unity that we can start from, I am going to ask that the name of Mr. David Minor be placed into nomination as our chair for the upcoming year.
Okay. Mr. Minor has been named as a consideration. Are there any further nominations for chair?
Madam Chair, I just have a point of order as well. There may be some people in the room who would like to comment. I know we don't have public comment on the agenda tonight, but if the five of us, I think, would be open to hearing from anybody who's here who would like to comment on the matter.
I agree.
Okay. If the board members want public comment, what's the will of the board?
And this would be an opportunity to comment on chair or vice chair, whatever the case may be.
Mr. Dye?
Yeah, Superintendent, the only question I would have procedurally is, if you do public comment, does that mean nominations are closed, or are you going to have public comment and leave nominations open? That's kind of got two things going on.
Okay. Mr. Titlebaum?
Well, first of all, the agenda's already been set, and by statute, public comment is always welcome, but this is a ministerial meeting under Florida Statute 286.0114. Generally, there is no public comment for this type of proceeding at this point in time.
Is there a prohibition for it?
There is not a prohibition,
Okay.
so it is technically the will of the board.
Right.
But this is,
Thank you.
but by statute, they did eliminate public comment as a requirement. And again, for having the agenda been set, to ensure those who may have already wanted to have spoken, they may not have come tonight for that very reason.
Perhaps we could ask, we have a lot of people in the audience, maybe the chair would ask for a show of hands in the audience who would like to speak to the issue, so we have an idea.
Right. I do think we need to have clarification on the ruling. Does this mean the nomination for chair is still open, Mr. Dye, if public comment is allowed?
That's the confusing part. Typically, traditionally, historically, when you've put names into nomination, the nomination process stays open. It's a freestanding part of the agenda. And I'm not familiar with having comment as each nomination comes before the board. So I do think you need to have a determination of whether there are any further nominations from the board, and then
And
throw it
then
to
allow
public.
public
That was my
comment?
intention as
comment.
well.
Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
That- I should have made my intentions more clear. What I was seeking is that after all the nominations have been
Okay, thank you. I
taken,
just
then
need
we
to
go to
get
public comment.
clarification.
I
Okay,
apologize.
thank you.
So then you were suggesting we do it for the vice chair position as well?
Sure.
Because you had mentioned that.
Okay. So now we're back to further nominations for chair.
Mr. Dye, is it proper for the person that made a motion to move that the
hold a
nominations be
second.
closed? I'm sorry.
I would like to hear from the vice chair whether the vice chair is interested in, if she's interested in the chair, I would nominate the vice chair messenger for chair.
I would accept that.
Okay. I nominate vice chair messenger to serve as chair.
Okay. Any further nominations? If there's no further nominations, we will now open up for public comment.
Good evening, I'm Scott Bassett. You have a couple of terrific nominees for chair, but I'm here to speak in favor of Dave Watchdog Minor. Dave has been a small business person in this community for over 40 years. He has the business skills to help guide this district. He has the heart and passion to do what's right for the children of this district. I am convinced, because I was deeply involved in the millage election back in the spring, that it would not have passed but for the efforts of Dave Watchdog Minor. Linda Boone is here. She can share her experiences as we sat in the back of Dave's office putting together signs. He commandeered my pickup truck and almost broke the suspension as we picked up the vote yes signs in the various different colors, and brought them here first to the school board office so the superintendent could see them, and then scattered them all around the county. I don't know of anybody who works harder for the students, for the teachers, and for the administrators of this school district than Dave Watchdog Minor. Some of you may think of him as a curmudgeon. That's not the Dave that I know. He is, in fact, I think the sweetest person I have ever known. He's probably going to be upset for me for saying that. Back in 2011, late October, my father became ill. Dave and my father were close friends through the Marine Corps League and the Kiwanis on Anna Maria Island. And we didn't have much of a preparation time to get ready for his demise. And while he was still at least reasonably lucid, Dave basically dropped everything in his schedule and came over. We were able to complete the estate planning documents and get that done. But that's not the only thing that Dave has done. I have a son who suffers from anxiety and ill-advisedly signed himself into what was then Manatee Glens, now Centerstone. And it was not the right placement for him. A simple phone call to Dave, because Dave knows everybody in this community after 40 plus years of being here. And he was able to talk to the right people to get my son out so we could get him the proper treatment. That's the heart of Dave Watchdog Minor. That's the heart that should be chairing this school board. So I would ask that Dave Watchdog Minor be elected chair. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Linda Boone, and since I was called out, I'll go ahead and come on up. I definitely echo the sentiments that you just heard. I've worked with Dave on several different things throughout his years as SAC chair and on the SAC committee at Manatee High School when I was teaching there. And even since my retirement, we've done some projects together. The most recent, of course, was the referendum, and I do agree that without his leadership and his enthusiasm and his passion, that referendum might not have passed. He definitely has the best interests of our school children at heart, but I also think he's an advocate for our teachers and our administrators at the school level, and also, to be a voice for them in the community and also at the district level. So I would like to echo again that he would make a wonderful chairperson for our school district at this time. He has the experience, the heart, and also the wealth of knowledge that we need at this point. So thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Peggy Martin, and I believe that Dr. Scott Hopes should be the chairman. We have gone through an unbelievable problem with our finances, the TR group, and everything else going on with all the changes. You were kind enough to have Ms. Saunders to hold fort, making sure that our community stays at a focus, and I think we ought to do the same thing with our finances and all the other things that go with running a good school district. So I suggest Dr. Hopes be the one to be chairman. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time?
Good afternoon, School Board, Madam Chair, Reverend Golden, welcome. My name is David Ballard, and I'm on the transition team for Representative Tommy Gregory. And I'm here on his behalf to say, no matter whom is chair, look forward to working with you in the future as the new legislative session approaches, and that you are all blessed in your decision-making today and moving forward. So thank you all for the time that you will spend, the long, long nights that I know you already do. So look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you.
That's the last one. I have my 2 seconds. Good evening, former fellow board members. I'm going to be brief. I'm going to say it this way. Out of the 2 people who've been nominated, there's only one that's really fit to be chair, and that would be Ms. Messenger. I think it would be very divisive to put Mr. Minor in the seat at this point in time. I hate to name you Mr. Minor, but I don't think it would work. There's obviously been a history here, and the only way to heal that history is for a fresh set of eyes on it. Unless you want to put Reverend Golden in the seat, that would be really fresh. So, and he's got experience on the city council, so I think that that might work as well. But since he's not been nominated, I guess that's out of the question. We're on a good course right now. We have a great superintendent in place. Ms. Saunders will hold the wheel firm and move us forward. We're only 3 points from an A district. As you all know, we have an A bond rating, which is going to be even more important going forward with the turmoil in the markets. We are a stable district now. We have everything we need. We have given our teachers raises. I think that Ms. Messenger, in concert with Ms. Saunders, will be the best fit for the district and continue to move us forward in an even keel. We don't need someone who's going to come in right now and try and turn the wheel in a different direction. I just want to be really clear about that. I think I worked very hard on this board. I think all of us worked very hard. Mr. Kennedy worked hard, Ms. Messenger's always prepared, and Dr. Hopes worked like a fiend. I think that if you don't put Ms. Messenger in this chair, you're going to have more turmoil going forward, and that's not what I want. I want this district to be in good shape. I live here. I've lived here for 20 years. So I'm not a newcomer to this district anymore. And I'll just leave it at that. Please elect Ms. Messenger. Thank you.
Good evening, board, former chair, superintendent, board members. Congratulations, Mr. Reverend Golden. I'm not gonna recommend either one. I mean, that you guys are up, and all I ask is whoever it is, please learn the finances of this district. It's $989 million. It's a lot of money. That's all I ask. Whichever one of you is, and I find it interesting, Mr. Minor won't even look at me. Thank you. Just, whether it's you or her, I'm making no recommendation on either one. But please learn the finances. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Please. That's all I ask. So good luck to whoever gets it, but please try and learn the finances because it is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further comments, at this time, since we have more than one nominee for chair, we will vote on them one by one in the order nominated.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a comment.
Oh, yes.
Would that allow?
Sure.
You know, I've had the pleasure to serve with Vice Chair Messenger now for a year. And of all of us on this dais, she is the one that drills into the data, asks the questions. She's always prepared for a meeting. And more importantly, as this board went through what I refer to as sort of finding our operating rhythm, regardless of what was going on here or in the parking lot or at the dais, Vice Chair Messenger rose above it all, maintained a steady course, and as I said, she has always been prepared for her meetings. And I'm happy to even change roles with her and provide her the support that she provided me. But I think it's important that the chair is one who day in and day out is prepared for the meetings, is able to follow the flow of the agenda and the materials. And there is no one else up here that has dove in as deep as she has to learn the district, to understand the challenges that we have been confronted with. And I have confidence in her ability to maintain the course that we're on. But more importantly, remember, the chair position, it's not about ego. The chair's position isn't to be the one that speaks all the time. The chair's position is to maintain that we have an orderly meeting, that we follow our own rules, we follow Robert's Rules of Orders, we follow our operating procedures, and we're productive and we stay focused. And I believe Vice Chair Messenger is that person.
Thank you. So at this time, since we have more than one nominee for chair, we will vote one by one in the order nominated. The nominee who receives the majority vote will be the chair. All those in favor of Dave Minor for chair, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
We will still proceed with a second vote. All those in favor of Gina Messenger, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Minor has the votes, 3-2. He is the next chair. At this time, our next order of business is the election of vice chair. Nominations are now in order for the office of vice chair. Once all nominations are taken, we will allow for public comment.
I'd like to nominate Gina Messenger to be vice chair. And a year from now, I'm going to nominate you to be chair. Because I can say that in a public meeting now.
One nomination is Gina Messenger. Are there any other nominations? Yes, Reverend Golden.
Madam Chair, I move that the nominations be closed on the said name.
I second that. Madam Chair, I second that and all the other things that Mr. Kennedy said.
Well, as long as we're all revealing what it is we're gonna do a year from now, since none of us are promised tomorrow.
We might not be alive, but, okay.
We wanna go ahead
That's
and
right.
announce who will be set forth as the vice chair next year, and then who will
I
be
guess
the
that's out of order.
No,
Mr.
we're going to
Ken-
get back to, let's just try to get the vice chair. Are there,
Okay.
if there are no other nominations for vice chair, I will now open up for public comments. Well, Ms. Messenger, I'm not sure that we need to take a vote, but I'll take a vote. We have one nomination. All those in favor of Ms. Messenger, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Ms. Messenger wins the position. Congratulations.
Thank you.
At this time, I would like to recognize Dr. Scott Hopes for being our chair, leading us in through the past year with sometimes a little bit more challenging and difficult than either he nor I had anticipated. And for that, I have, if I can get it, a small token of appreciation for the hard work and dedication you've given to this district. Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Minor, with that, I will gladly give you the gavel because I would really rather not have it. Reverend Golden.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, after recess.
Okay, everybody, it's time for recess. There are swings out in the parking lot now, along with, but we're going to resume in 10.
Recess, yep,
Yeah,
to reset for the next meeting.
We're going to set up for the next meeting in about 10 minutes. So,
Madam Superintendent,
Yes.
I have a question. There are 5 and 6 on the agenda.
Is it
At
not
least
on
according
mine?
to the,
What's, they take over, yeah. I give it to him now, and he'll do that. We recess, then he'll do the next 2 items on the agenda.
thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Minor. I have,
Thank you.
in 10 minutes, have to brief you on how to do this.
I just want you to know that she appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back. We left off with, on the agenda, where we set the times and dates for regular meetings. And this is required by the same statute that requires us to have elections of officers at this time. And I think that all the board members and prospective board members have information about how we've done it this past year, and had meetings on the second and fourth Tuesdays most of the months during the year. Are there any motions or suggestions with respect to any changes or for keeping it for this coming year?
Mr. Chair, for
Yes,
a
Mr.
suggestion.
Hope, Dr. Hopes.
What I have passed out, in accordance with both state statutes and our own rules, we're only required to have one meeting a month. And given the fact that we have so many vacancies at the administrative level, and given that we've got people that are doing two jobs, they are spending most of their time preparing for board meetings. And my suggestion, as I had brought up before, and in consultation with the superintendent, is, at least for now, that we adopt a calendar which holds meetings on the second Tuesday of each month. We can certainly, if the workload requires it, choose at the chair and the superintendent's request to add meetings. But given where we are and with the challenges that we have with the district, it's my recommendation that we adopt a meeting calendar of meeting once a month on the first Tuesday of the month.
Okay, Dr. Hopes has made a motion. Is there a second? Dr. Hope's motion is basically to have one meeting a month on the second Tuesday of each month. I'm going to second it for purposes of discussion here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Dr. Hopes, would you like to say anything further with respect to your motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. As I mentioned, we still have the flexibility of calling meetings when needed. But with the work that I have observed over this past year, the entire administrative team is basically spending a significant amount of time preparing for 2 board meetings a month. There's briefings in between that. And we are so short-staffed right now, I believe the administration needs to focus on the work of the district and not in preparing the board for meetings. We have already experienced the past couple of months, because of, events out of our control, of only having one meeting a month, and we were able to get all the work done. It doesn't preclude the chair or even a member or a superintendent from requesting an additional meeting. But at least moving forward, we're only bound to the one meeting a month, which is what's provided for in statutes and what is also provided for in our own operating procedures and rules. Now, maybe once we get a new CIO, a new deputy superintendent, a deputy superintendent over instruction, a director of business services, maybe we'll have enough administrative staff to devote more time to preparing us, but I really believe, members, that we should give this a try. We're not the only district that's done it, and it certainly does not preclude, the additional meetings. In addition to that, if we move forward with the shared board leadership that is provided in our rules also, those in-between times, the individual board members can work with, groups within the administration. But I really think we should try this, because the staff is incredibly taxed right now. And I think we need to be sensitive to what their core focus is, and that's in the education in our classrooms and keeping the district moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Hopes. We don't have a great systems of letting the new chair know by button or otherwise, they wish to speak. But Mr. Kennedy, I sense you have some thoughts on this motion.
I do. I want to speak against it, only in that my experience over the past 4 years has been that, and I've said this before, that when we miss a meeting, things tend to go sideways on us from time to time. And So I think as a working board, for continuity's sake, that we keep it the way it is. I'm also a little bit concerned about the public image of a part-time school board and how that will reflect upon us in the community. We are, let's just be frank, the image of this board is not great at the moment, and I think if we start taking meetings off, it's only going to get worse. I think to Dr. Hope's point, it's a good one, that we are understaffed, and if the chair feels the need to call a meeting, if we went to this once-a-month system, I think the reverse could also be true, that if we find that we don't need to have a meeting, we could certainly cancel one in advance. But, you know, it may be on the calendar, but we don't publish an agenda when we announce that we're not going to have a meeting. I don't think this board works well with only one meeting a month. I don't think it will look good. And further, there have been times in the past where something needs to be put on the agenda by staff after the agenda has been published because there is a time-sensitive nature to the item. So what are we going to do when that happens? And, oh, sorry, we don't have a meeting for a month. So there's just, to me, there's too many ways that this can go wrong as opposed to I think the bad outweighs the good. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
Mr. Chair, for rebuttal.
I'm sorry.
For rebuttal.
Okay, before we go to rebuttal, is there any other board member, board member Gina? Okay, thank you. Board member Messenger, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I see your point, and I get the point, and I like the idea of only having one, but I also hear Mr. Kennedy's points, and I think they're very valid. My biggest concern with only going down to one is I actually think it might actually require more planning from staff, because instead of thinking a few weeks, now they're having to plan a whole entire month. But I think my opinion is secondary to our superintendent. So what I'd really like to hear is, what do you think? Do you think that it would be better for the one or better for the two? If you don't mind.
The chair recognizes superintendent for her thoughts on this.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Our staff can operate under any system. I think all the points are definitely valid, both made. It will be an adjustment if we go to one in terms of planning, because right now we're not accustomed to being planning that far out. But, we've just had a couple of months where that has been the case, and we've only had 1 month meeting. In the summer we have one. I think 4 of them only have one. So this actually is a board item, and I will defer to the decision of the board, and our staff will do whatever the board chooses.
Okay, thank you, Madam Superintendent. Any other, we'll go back to Dr. Hopes if any other board member doesn't wish to make comment at this time. Dr. Hopes?
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Chair.
recognized.
Members, this is not a finality. This is just, we are required by law to adopt a calendar for the next year. December, we only have one meeting. My suggestion is that rather than adopt a calendar that puts the burden on the organization, we can amend the calendar at any time. We can decide in February, after we've gone 2 months of only one meeting in consultation with the superintendent, to amend our calendar and add it. This is state law. State law does not say we have 2 meetings a month. State law says we're required to have 1 meeting a month. Our own bylaws and our own operating procedures call for us to have 1 meeting a month. My suggestion is, yes, the superintendent can work either way, but in seeing the amount of work that has to be done, it's my suggestion that we at least adopt a calendar for 1 meeting a month in compliance with state law, see how it works out, and we can always come back and say we want to amend the calendar. So for the last 6 months or 8 months of the year, we're going to go back to 2 meetings a month. It's harder to move back and retract once we've scheduled the 2 meetings a month. My suggestion is for the next few months, we already only have 1 meeting in December. The budget process starts in January. They're going to have a lot of work to do, given the status of the ERP system in January, to focus on beginning the budgeting process and preparing to brief us for that. My suggestion, again, is let's do what we're required to do in state law and our own operating procedures, and for now, adopt the calendar meeting the second Tuesday of each month. See how that works for the next 2 or 3 months. We can revisit it, but it's going to be a lot harder if we adopt a full calendar with 2 meetings a month and then decide that we really don't have the staff capacity. Even though the superintendent can handle 2 meetings a month, I'm telling you, that time can be better spent on fixing the problems with the ERP system, preparing for our budget cycle, recruiting new executives. And so I ask you to give this an opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hopes. Yes, Dr. Goldman.
Mr. Chair, I don't recall throughout the campaign season that the 3 of us who were campaigning ever even discussed modifying the meeting schedule of the school board itself. And I think to come at the organizational meeting and propose something as significant as that is unfair in a meeting where the people don't even have a chance to comment. We're talking, we've asked the board, we've asked the superintendent. Obviously, the superintendent is going to find a way to do whatever we vote to do. But I don't think that it's good optics for us to be sitting here with a new board cutting the workload in half for the board. Now, that's just me. I just think it sets a bad image right off the bat for something that nobody ever discussed, nobody ever brought up, nobody ever mentioned, nobody ever thought it was important until tonight.
Thank you, Board Member Golden. I have a couple questions for legal. And, number one is it was suggested that it's okay just to cancel meetings. The board, if it has 2 in a month, it could just, with reason or just stating good reason, we're not going to have a second meeting in the month. Are we allowed to do that under Florida law?
Mr. Chair, the statutes are on holding meetings, not canceling meetings. And like the meeting, excuse me, that had to be canceled because of the emergency in the HVAC system, there's really not a lot of guidance on canceling meetings. The thing that I would point out is that some meetings, especially if they have public hearings attached to them, have notice, and people will have an expectation of being able to come down and present testimony or however participate how they think is necessary. I would think if you cancel a meeting, you need to take those kinds of things into consideration. I don't know of any prohibition. If there is a public hearing, for example, it can always be rescheduled, but it has to be renoticed. The only requirement that I know of is one Dr. Hopes is talking about, that is there has to be at least 1 meeting a month. Beyond that, it is up to the board to conduct their meetings as the workload and they think necessary.
Thank you. There's another question I had for legal, and I forgot what it is, but I guess legally we could do either one. Is that correct, legal? Okay.
Mr. Chair, can we call the question? We've all spoken to.
I'd like to make a couple comments myself, if I may.
Apologies.
I think this has been a good discussion. I think valid points have been brought up by everyone. I was asking legal because I think that what Dr. Hopes was talking about, Board Member Hopes, was efficiency, saving money, not burning out staff, having maybe a little bit longer meeting, but at the same time, having it all together, it sounds from what I heard from legal, it's easier to, schedule another meeting if a need arises than it is to cancel and then rearrange, a second meeting. And they're all, valid reasons. It's awfully nice to get together, every couple of weeks. At the same time, I'm sensitive. We don't work for the staff. Staff works for us. But their effectiveness, is affected by, how much we load onto them during a meeting. And I think Dr. Hope's, point was, it really doesn't have to be divided between two meetings. If there is something that comes up that requires action, by this board that hasn't been foreseen when the first meeting was scheduled, then we could, schedule for that. It might be a short meeting, to take care of that. It would be a special meeting. I think that's the time. But the proper title for it. But we could do that. And, staff could say, for some reason, it's not an emergency, but for efficiency, we need to have board review, board approval, for this contract or this action or whatever it is. And a meeting would be, scheduled maybe on, the second Tuesday in that month. I guess my feeling is there is flexibility in what Dr. Hope's, proposed. I don't, I think that, Mr. Kennedy, brought up, perception, and I think that Board Member Golden, brought up about perception, of the public. Are we really cutting our work in half? Folks out there, for me, and I think other board members, this is a full-time job. It's a full-time job. All that we have to, study, involve, listen to, respond to, it's a full-time job. I don't think everybody in the community appreciates that, but I will tell them, I will take an oath, I will take a polygraph. For me, this is a full-time job. And, it costs me a heck of a lot of money for all the time that I devote to this, and I love doing it. I'm not complaining. But I think that's also true with other board members, too. And I don't really believe that with the public knowing, that we're trying to make it efficient, we're trying to save money, we're trying to go about this in a better business-like manner, that this board would, suffer, poor optics, for trying at least what Board Member Hope's, suggests. And if we find ourselves in a position that, well, and this doesn't work out this year, and the only thing that's really required, as I understand, the law, and we're talking about 10,001.371, we're required to submit to the state a schedule of meetings, board meetings. We're supposed to do that in conjunction with, this organization meeting. We have to do that. And if we put something on there that we don't want, we go about canceling, we probably should, not just for optics, but for satisfying the state, have some really great reasons for going around and, well, you're canceling the second meeting of all these things. And that's what I circle back to. It's a lot easier to, schedule a meeting. I'm sorry, you're out of order. You're going to be asked to leave if you don't stop. Do you understand? Okay, thank you.
What's wrong with you?
Okay, all right. I think I've spoken enough on this. Does anybody else wish to make further comment? Okay, I think, Mr. Kennedy, you wish to call the question?
I did, thank you.
Okay. The question has been called, and all those in favor of Board Member, Hope's motion, please, I don't know if we can do this electronically now or not. I guess not. It's all, raise your right hands, and all those in favor, raise your right hands. Okay.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Okay, there are two. Okay, all those opposed, raise your right hand.
No.
There are three. Okay. Board Member Messengers, Board Member Colden, and Board Member Kennedy voted nay. The motion does not carry. So,
Mr.
we
Chair,
still haven't adopted a calendar.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Board Member Colon did not.
What?
Board Member Colon.
Colden.
Cologne.
Golden, okay. Did it come out cold, Cologne? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's all right.
Golden, okay.
We all know
Voted nay.
He's much more handsome than I am.
Well, okay, he probably voted no, too. I don't know.
So much more distinct.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Cole. Okay, now, we still haven't adopted a calendar. There's a Board Member Golden.
Mr. Chair, I move that the calendar that has been presented as a part of our package for 2 regular meetings on the second Tuesday and the 4th Tuesday of the month be adopted.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded that a calendar of meetings that we also have presented to us be adopted that is similar to the calendar of meetings that we've had in effect for this past year, if I understand that motion correctly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Is there any discussion? Okay, Board Member Golden made the motion. Mr. Kennedy is seconded. We won't dwell on it. Does anybody wish to call the question?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to call the question.
Okay. Board Member, Kennedy has called this question as well. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. All board members have voted yes to adopt that calendar, and we have adopted a calendar of meetings for this coming year. I can't see this up there.
Hope's vote, Dr. Hope's
Motion
voted no.
passed 4-1, Mr. Chair.
4 to 1, okay. Okay, the next item on our agenda is board committee assignments for 2018-19. This is not something we are going to be deciding, tonight, but I think all of us have before us the various, committees and assignments that we've had this past year. And when on the, I think we're required at the first regular meeting in December to decide on these assignments, on these committees' assignments, and that's in accordance with page 7 of our operating manual. But we can discuss this, tonight in terms of, preferences. Mr. Kennedy, I think you need 4 more assignments, don't you, to be assigned to?
Take as
or-
many as you want to give me, Mr. Chair.
I think you have quite a few already. Is Mr. Hope or Dr. Hope, Board Member Hope's, do you have some additional committees that you would like to be a part of?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We don't have to, but this is an opportunity to kind of put it out or feel it out or ask somebody else, would you prefer not to do this and let me do it or what? And if there's, yes, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a couple of items on here.
Sure.
Number 1, on page 3, Manatee County, this is a little bit of a typo, but it's okay. It's Manatee Community Action Agency is actually the old name. The organization has since changed its name over the past year
Okay.
to Step Up Suncoast. It's a 50-year-old organization, and they're kind of doing a rebrand and kind of some new development and philanthropy efforts. So that we should change that to Step Up Suncoast. I'm currently the board chair Step Up Suncoast. But there is, Barbara Patton is the CEO of Step Up, and there is an open, so if anybody else on the board had an interest in Step Up Suncoast, Step Up Suncoast is an anti-poverty organization. It's, as the name implies, the old name, a community action agency. And so a big part of what they do is Head Start. So that's what requires the school board presence on that board. So I am there. I did want to offer to my board colleagues, I, for 2 years now, have been the ex officio representative of the school board on the Chamber of Commerce board. Since I've been doing that for 2 years, I wanted to see if anybody, I'm happy to continue, but I wanted to see if anybody else wanted to take that on. I'm happy, like I said, I'm happy to keep doing it, but I wanted to offer it up. We do, Mr. Colon was our representative on the MTI Board of Governors, and same with the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. So I don't know how quickly they are going to meet. I know we're just kind of discussing this tonight,
Sure.
but we may want to just focus on those two quickly and see if anybody has any interest.
Yes, Mr. Board Member Golden.
Mr. Chair, I would be more than happy to take the assignments formally given to Mr. Cologne with respect to the MTI Board of Governors and with respect to the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. I formerly served on the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council when I was a member of the Bradenton City Council. As a matter of fact, at the time of my last term, I was the vice chair of the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council.
Sounds like a good fit.
I'd be glad to do that.
Mr. Chair, I have one word too.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Golden. Okay, Mr. Kennedy. Listen,
Just
I
call him
haven't
Brent.
done this
Yeah, just call him
for
Brent like
this
everybody else.
outfit and ever, so, okay. Or I guess I did it as vice chair a few times, but that was a long time ago.
I have one more.
Okay, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, sir. This one is just kind of geographically makes sense. I am the designee for the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance, but Lakewood Ranch is Reverend Golden's district. So I wanted to offer that to him if he wants to take it on. I will continue, but I live in downtown, or close to downtown, and he lives in Lakewood Ranch, so.
It's just like regular horse trading. Isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. No problem. I'd be glad.
Okay, Mr. Kennedy, we'll have to take you out to dinner then. Okay. Just kidding, public, okay.
No, that's fine. I'd be
Okay.
glad to do that.
Traditionally, when I say going back to many years that I remember, the chair of the board, served on was a representative on the Manatee Chamber of Commerce for as long as I remember, except for last year. And we'll, finalize that. I may wish to, I think there's, philosophically, I think it's good to rotate, that, with the president. I think that I have some prejudice toward rotating, some of these things, among board members, so that you get acquainted with things. And I think there's some benefit of, the vice chair becoming chair, that rotation, that in the past was just routine. And, but it hasn't been the last couple of years. But Dr. Golden, I'm not saying there's anything automatic here, but I think there's benefit in doing that. Okay, any other comments, with respect to chair? Board Member Messenger, do you stick with what you got, I guess? Or?
Yeah, except for the Value Adjustment Board booked their next meeting on a different day, and I think they said they contacted Charlie. Did they contact you? Because they did a day that I couldn't do it, and I said, well, I could do a different day, and they were like, well, I'll just talk to Charlie. And I was like, all right.
I wonder if Board Member Hope.
I think it's in
It's a lot of fun.
January. No, I have no problem doing it. It's just they picked a day that I could not do it. And so I think you in the past had been the backup.
Yeah, I'm the backup, yeah, I am still the backup.
And so I think they said they contacted you. We can't ever really talk about these things, so, here we are now.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
I'm happy being part of this board. I've been part of it for the last 2 years, but they put it on a day I could not do it, and then they said they'd contact you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr.
I
Kennedy.
do have it on my calendar for January 31st, so she did contact me, and I will be
Okay.
there.
So.
But it's still yours, I'm just
Yeah,
stepping
no,
in for
I
it.
know. That's what I'm saying. I don't mind doing it if they had done it in any other day, but they were like, well, everyone else can do it. And I was like,
Yeah,
Sorry.
she did. I've got that one.
Okay.
Okay, well, I didn't wish to, spotlight Board Member Hopes, but, this past year, because he was, chair, there weren't significant number of, committee assignments. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I just thought divvying it up a little bit, it might be something he would, like to do or not, but it sounds like Mr. Kennedy is very eager to take that on.
Well, just for that meeting. It's still my assignment, and if any other meeting comes up, I will attend. It's just that day they picked, I couldn't do it.
Yep, I got it. Got it covered.
Okay. Are there any other comments that, Board Member Golden?
Yes, sir. The Florida School Boards Association Legislative Committee says that there's a board member and an alternate required.
Would you like to be the alternate?
No. No, but I just wanted to call it
Okay.
to your attention that we
Okay.
do need an alternate.
Okay.
I just got here, so
Yeah.
I think that that's exactly the right fit for me right now.
Okay. Would anybody else like to serve as an alternate? Okay. We'll keep that in mind. Charlie?
I will.
Or Mr. Kennedy?
I mean, I know you're not going to miss a meeting, so I know nothing will
It's
be
a safe,
required.
it's a safe assignment. Okay. Okay, Board Member Kennedy, thank you very much. It's going to be alternate legislative representative. We have a meeting coming up with that before our legislative delegation, and that's a requirement of the alternate to be there with the representative. You understand that?
It's already on my calendar.
I just made that up, but.
No,
okay.
well, it's already on my calendar anyway, so let's
Okay.
run with it. Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, we'll work that out. Okay, is there any other comments regarding, committee assignments? Okay, I think it's time to, if there's no other further business regarding that meeting, I'm going to adjourn the reorganization meeting. No comment? Okay. Meeting adjourned. Now, before you run out to your car, we do have another exciting meeting coming up. I don't think we have to pause a lot, do we? I'm asking staff. We can go right on, okay? I'm going to call to order an annual meeting of the Manatee School Board Leasing Corporation. We are in order. In the annual meeting of the School Board Leasing Corporation, under the Articles of Incorporation of the Manatee School Board Leasing Corporation, the members of the not-for-profit corporation are the members of the school board. The Articles of Incorporation provide that the Board of Directors, unless changed by the membership, are the members of the school board. The officers are the president, vice president, and secretary-treasurer. The articles also provide that the chair of the school board is the president. The vice chair is the vice president, and the secretary-treasurer is the secretary of the school board, which is the superintendent. Do I hear a motion to approve the nominations of these officers to continue, or these be the officers for the coming year as required under the Articles of Incorporation?
So moved.
I'll second.
So moved by Board Member Kennedy, seconded by Board Member Messenger. Is there any discussion? The chair hearing none, the chair will adjourn the annual meeting of the Manatee School. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Thank you very much, Board Member Hope. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Those opposed, say nay. The motion carries unanimously, 5-0. The meeting of the annual meeting of the Manatee School Board Leasing Corporation is now completed. We're going to have another meeting. It's called Hat Trick Night. So we're going to convene a business meeting of the board, and the first thing is we need to amend the agenda to include all items listed under agenda amendments on the November 20, 2018 agenda, updated November 16/2018, and posted to the district website. After that good cause, I'm going to turn this over to our new vice chair, our old vice chair, Board Member Messenger, for public comment with respect to this regular business meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Yeah, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Kennedy, all those any discussion? No, the board not hearing any discussion, we'll move on to all those in favor. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The record should reflect that this was unanimously agreed to. And we move on to public comments. And I'll turn it over to, the gavel over to our vice chair, Board Member Messenger.
Okay, we have Mr. Hoover? You'll pass, okay. Linda Boone, I know she already spoke, I don't see her now, she already left. And Mr. Ballard? Come on down.
Board, Chair, earlier I was, didn't exactly want to speak because I didn't want to make it seem as if I was trying to promote Chair. Congratulations, Chair.
Thank you.
So yeah, so on to what I was going to say. My name is David Ballard, as all you know except for Mr. Golden, and I am part of the transition team for Representative-elect Tommy Gregory. Tommy covers East Manatee County, and come tomorrow I will be transitioning into his legislative aid. And I wanted to come today. I thought it was fitting where you all were reorganizing, and Tommy was taking over his elected seat, that I would come here and try to start a dialogue as the school board and as the boots on the ground, as home rule. You all are the first ones that see problems, and to really try to establish that relationship. And that's something that Representative Gregory will be trying to promote going forward, is better communications between local elected officials and those representing them in Tallahassee. So here today to acknowledge you all and congratulate you all and wish you best of luck on your next year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Please extend our gratitude to Representative Gregory. Okay, is that okay? Okay, you're in charge here. This is your show here. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I apologize.
No, that concludes public comment.
What?
That concludes public comment.
Okay, no further public comment. Okay, old business. Do I hear a motion to remove approval of the budget amendments for July, August 2018, and approval of the financial statements through August 28 from the table?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Kennedy and seconded by Board Member Messenger to remove from the table approval of the budget amendments for July, August 2018, and approval of the financial statements through August 2018 from the table. Do I hear a motion to approve the budget amendments for July, August 2018? Or excuse me, does the superintendent have a position on this matter?
Yes.
Hold on, I think we have to vote on removing it from the table first.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All those in favor of removing this from the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Let the record reflect unanimous approval for removing it from the table. Now, does the superintendent, have a position with respect to approving the budget amendments for July, August 2018?
Yes, I recommend the approval of budget amendments for July and August 2018.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Kennedy and seconded by
I'll second it.
Board Member Messenger. Is there any discussion? Okay, Board Member Messenger is recognized.
I want to thank the superintendent for having these things completed and having the willingness to put it at this meeting rather than the last board meeting, since it was done so quickly. I mean, and it wasn't done quickly for them. It took them a very long time. But what I wanted to really say is, and I met with all the finance team this week, and the budget team, and, or last week? Weeks are blurring together. Anyway, I really appreciate how these are being done, and they were asking for feedback, and I really wanted to say that what I liked about this is I think it adds a lot of clarity. Instead of saying, okay, the money's going to textbooks, no, you can actually see exactly which place it's going for the textbooks. And to me, I think that is an added benefit to this board. I think that's an added benefit to the public. And so I just wanted to say I really appreciated the amount of information that is there. And the only note I had given them was in the description line where it does give that description. I would like that to be longer, because there were some things where you could see where they, and they already heard me say that.
Oh, okay.
It's not a surprise to them. I try not to surprise people. But that object description line where sometimes it would fill up the whole entire object description line, and you could see, okay, they were trying to get this word out, or, you know what I mean, that those kinds of things, like, to me, the more information, the better. But I appreciated that was there, and I think that was really beneficial. And they said that the software only allowed them that many characters. And I was like, oh.
We'll work on that.
Don't worry.
But for some things, you know, it didn't matter. But for some things, it does matter, you know, because it's a long explanation sometimes. But I really wanted to thank you for getting these out there, albeit pretty late, but, you know, that's what we're handed at this point. But I appreciate the depth. So I wanted to thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Board Member Messenger. Are there any other comments?
I have a question I'd like to ask.
Yes, Board Member Golden, recognized.
Yes. We are voting on approval of the year-to-date financial statements through August 31st.
Yes, sir,
I'm sorry,
that,
I'm sorry, budget amendments.
Yes, sir.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Well, then I don't have to apologize. Put my glasses on. Okay, approval of budget amendments for July, August 2018. When will we be able to get any future budget amendments?
Those are good, very good questions. On the December 11th board meeting, we will have September and October, and then we will be caught up. We are very delayed. We had difficulty with the conversion, but we are hoping to be caught up by the next board meeting after that. So we'll have 2 months on the next one as well.
Will that apply?
And the goal will be that it will be published well in advance, so that was part of what happened. We didn't get it published in time for the board to have enough vetting process, but we are expected to publish on time for the next 2 months.
And would that apply to number 3 also?
Yes, sir. It'll be for both of them.
Okay, so by the December 11th meeting.
You will have September, October budget amendments and financial statements as well.
And then going forward.
We'll catch up.
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments with respect to the item of approval of budget amendments for July, August 2018? Okay, the chair not hearing any, is there a motion to approve? I guess we've already approved.
It's already-
Okay, there's no, there not being any further questions or comments, the chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, it's unanimous. All in favor, 5-0. Thank you. The next item of business is approval of the year-to-date financial statements through August 31, 2018. Does the superintendent have a position on this?
Yes, I recommend approval of the year-to-date financial statements through August 31st.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Board Member Kennedy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's seconded by Board Member Messenger. Discussion. Any questions, comments? The board chair hearing none. The chair will call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed indicate by saying nay. This item is passed unanimously 5-0. Okay, this brings us to board comments. And Board Member Hopes, you lead off.
I want to congratulate the chair. You've done a fine job in your first meeting, and I look forward to the coming 4 years. Thank you.
The next, Board Member Kennedy.
Thank you. Same, to echo Dr. Hope's, Mr. Minor, congratulations on becoming the chair. It's been a long time coming.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Messenger, on your second year as vice chair. As Mr. Hope said earlier, you have been, or actually Mr. Cologne said it earlier, you have been a stabilizing and steadying influence in an interesting year, to say the least. So I know we could count on you to continue to do that. I do want to bring up one thought, and this was one of Dr. Hope's last requests or items as chair, was to have a meeting of the board on the 4th or 5th of December. I think that's a really good idea. We have already talked about the superintendent issue a couple of times already. I think just to kind of do a session to, as FSBA called it, storming, forming, norming. We may need to, go through the cycle again, and I think the first week of December would be a good place to start. I am available on the 4th or the 5th, which I believe were your dates. So I hope we can make that happen on one of those two dates. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Kennedy. Board Member Golden. This is an opportunity for you to, comment concerning education here in Manatee County. You had some earlier comments which were wonderful, but your hopes, it's kind of say what you think would be helpful and what comes from your heart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I look forward to the work that we're going to do. I would like to know a little bit more about the activity. I thought I read something about a retreat. I didn't know whether that was going to be during the day or during the evening hours. Has any thought been given to that? Will it be both days or one or the other?
That's what I was referring to. My understanding, and Dr. Hopes can speak for himself, would that it would be one of those 2 days.
Pretty much a full day.
Yeah, a full day, but one of those 2 days, and I guess you could call it a retreat.
The thought was that we would spend the morning with either recruiting firms, the FSBA, FADS, and have a pretty in-depth conversation about our next steps, where we need to go, and then the afternoon we could talk through some resolution, so that in the December meeting we would be in a position to actually take action with regards to a number of issues, including the superintendent. But I just don't think we can do it in a 2-hour workshop. I think we need to have a much deeper dialogue, and also looking at some of the challenges we have before us over the course of the next 2 or 3 months.
And you had said the 4th or the 5th. Is that what? Okay. So I will weigh in and say that I would appreciate the 4th.
Okay.
Because I've already got an obligation to be out of town on the 5th, and I certainly would want to be a part of that. I don't know.
4th is fine with me.
So I don't know where the others are. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now can I go forward?
Board member, okay.
Can I make my?
I think part of your comments is having this meeting or retreat or whatever we call to discuss topics that have been mentioned would better fit your schedule. And I think the 4th is a Friday, isn't it?
No.
What day is it?
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only.
Okay. I'm gonna, can I ask staff now, Florida School Board Association, I get my calendar. Next week,
Yes.
it seems like my secretary got it blanked out, saying you're lost in Tampa or something like that. It's the following week. Correct. Okay. Okay, so, Board Member Golden says Tuesday, the 4th, would work for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna do this.
Okay, we'll see. Next up is Board Member Messenger. Do you have some comments?
I'm not sure Mr. Golden was done.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do you have some further comments?
That's all right.
Okay.
I just wanted to share with the public in an effort to try to facilitate what we're trying to do and what we want to try to do here. In District 5 at the Lakewood Ranch YMCA on the Thursdays before our school board meetings, and I'm glad I didn't announce it until we had a calendar. On the Thursdays before our school board meeting from 6 until 9, I will be at the YMCA in their conference room to meet on a first come, first served basis with any of the constituents in District 5. Hopefully that will give us an opportunity to cut down on some of the public comment that comes about when people are saying, well, I haven't talked with anybody before now, so I want them to at least talk with me before that. So to whomever is listening, the YMCA 6 to 9 o'clock on the Thursdays before the school board meeting schedule. And I believe that the superintendent said by then the agenda is prepared and published so that anybody that would want to come in will have the benefit of knowing what's going to be on the upcoming agenda. All right. Thank you so very much.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Golden. If I understand, you wish to get out, to the public in your area, that each Thursday before each, regular meeting of the board, you will be at the YMCA in Lakewood Ranch from 6 to 9 p.m. To talk with constituents and try to respond to any questions, particularly with respect to the agenda for the upcoming board meeting. Okay, that's a great idea. Thank you, Mrs. Board Member Messenger. Yeah, the reason I'm saying this is how they do it up in Seminole County. Everybody's called board member, okay, except for the chair is chair, board chair, and board vice chair. That seemed to work pretty well for them. So, Board Member Messenger.
Thank you.
Okay.
I agree with Mr. Golden about the 4th versus the 5th. I just want to put that out there. I think that's what I told Mrs. Boyes, if I remember correctly. The 5th did not work for me either. So there's that. Secondly, I love that you're going to meet with constituents, and I hope that when you come to board meetings, you will share what you learn. I think we are better with the more opinions and the more information that we're given. So I only ask that you share whatever you hear, whatever you learn. I want to congratulate the 3 of you for today, and I wanted to say thank you, Dr. Hopes, for your year as chair. And I wanted to congratulate Mr. Minor as our new chair. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And we have a lot to be thankful for, and that is all I think about. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Messenger. I guess the first thing is, thank you, fellow board members, for allowing me to be your chair for the coming year. And, congratulations to, Board Member, Hopes, Board Member Golden, Board Member Kennedy, to also being here, and for Board Member Messenger continuing and to be the vice chair. And I look forward to your being next to me in the future, too. So you're a big help. And I want to thank the people in this community for allowing me to sit on this board. It's quite a privilege, and it's not always been happy moments during the last 6+ years, but I've always considered it a great privilege, and I'm glad I'm here. What the moments ahead this coming year is going to be a real opportunity for us to show the leadership for this community of how we should be, how better we're going to be. We have much to do, much to accomplish, and I know we can do it, working together. What has been brought up about having a meeting, call it what we want, on the 4th. We don't have all the details, but I think at least meeting on the 4th in the morning and afternoon to try to set that aside to talk about where we're going. And I endorse that idea. I thank Dr. Hopes and Mr. Kennedy for kind of pushing that idea. Mr. Kennedy, or Board Member Kennedy, I believe it may have been the last meeting or the meeting before, focused on the position of superintendent, having to make a decision, that this board needed to make a decision about where we are going. And I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but he said, well, there's maybe 3 things we have to decide: whether we might just proceed with basically rescinding the contract that we presently have with our present superintendent, to allow for our present superintendent to have a position that's more than an interim basis, and to come to some contract with her for whatever period of time that the board and her might otherwise agree to, on what terms the board and she might agree to. That was number 1. I think I added more words to it than Mr. Kennedy, but I think that was the idea. Number 2 was to go about a search, call it national, international, state, or whatever, that would include our present superintendent, and a release from the clause that said she would not be allowed to accept and would not seek to be superintendent. Or 3, to just go about a state or national search, but leaving in place that present clause in her contract that the superintendent could not be an applicant. And I think that Mr. Kennedy digested it and stated it well, better than I just said. But I think the thrust of it is moving forward about something that's very important, to this community, for our board, for all employees, for everybody. And thank you for that. And I think that should be the focus, maybe the focus, for our discussions on December 4th. I think that's the most important thing that we have to decide. So much is attached to that. And careers, other people coming here, where we're going, what we tell the community, what we're going to do. And it's very important. It has all sorts of ramifications. And it's our getting together and saying, well, we feel this and all of that. And I hope that would be number 1 on our topic of when we get together on the 4th. Is 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. too early to start? Say to 9 to 12, 1 to 5, something like that. Set that aside. Okay, we have consensus for the 4th. We'll get together and we'll meet. Room, what's the room where we use? How about in that back room? I don't know the number. 215 in the back. This will be open to the public. I'm not trying to hide, in the attic or anything like that, but I think that room is more conducive, for discussion, than this, other big room, and the public would be allowed, to be there. And it will be recorded, and it will be a public meeting. Why don't we go with that, and after we conclude, that discussion, we might go on to whatever else we might want to add to the agenda, at that time. Does that sound acceptable to everybody here? Okay. Yes, Board Member Golden.
I have a question in terms of the structure of that retreat.
Yeah.
I have a question in terms of the structure of the retreat setting. I don't know whether this is protocol or not, and I really don't care.
Okay.
I just think that in light of the fact that Dr. Hopes had the idea and brought it forward, that in the retreat setting, that he be charged with developing the agenda for that particular moment. As opposed to all of us coming in there with our own agenda, and we know we can't get together and make up one outside of the Sunshine Law, that we do that we propose that, pass that around to see if that's acceptable, so that when we come on the 4th, we don't have to deal with what we're going to do. If that's, I'm just saying that I'm new. Y'all have to forgive me.
The agenda will be available for, amendments, but, the chair, in conjunction with the superintendent, will put together some high points, and we can add to it as we go along.
For the retreat?
Yes, for the retreat. Call it retreat or work session or whatever.
No, we need to call it whatever it's going to be, Mr.
Well,
Chair.
we're going to call it a work session concerning the future of this district. Okay?
Okay, all right, so it's a work session.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. I think that's going to conclude everything at about 7:30 p.m. And I want to thank you all for working with me through this first meeting as chair, and for the privilege. And I think we got a lot done tonight. Thank you very much. And this meeting is adjourned.